Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to C.A.R. Entertainment. I am your host Dalton Hamilton today, guys, and we are going to be moving on with our A21 Digital Technology Revision videos, guys. We've done our little bit on our what was it called again? What was the last videos we made here actually? Yeah, on networks. Yeah, that's what it was. So we've done a little bit on networks, network topologies, and now we're going to go back on to talk about a little bit about our databases and stuff. Your A22 is going to be course configured in the CA spec, and so this is how it relates back through all the database stuff. We're going to talk about normalization and how you get deferred normal form, which is basically once the database is made with all your tables. So let's go on there and talk about it, right? Well, normalization is whenever you take one set of raw data and then divide it up into relevant groups or entities, and this practice of optimizing table structures. So that's what it is. You do normalization through optimization, and optimization is the accomplished investigation of various pieces of data which is stored within a database that concentrates upon how data is interrelated. Sounds quite complicated, but essentially it's the analysis of data that results in both substantial improvement in speed, so it's quicker. The tables and queries will have a decreasing chance of storing multiple copies, and therefore data redundancy is reduced. So the outcome of normalization then is that the database will have all the possible entities identified, and they will be separated with each presented in their own table. So there's different rules of normalization then. We'll start off by telling you a little bit more that normalization involves an application of a set of rules, and then you have to remove undesirable characteristics which is used to test the correctness of an R using ER model. This will reduce data redundancy, and it will also reduce storage space. It will update anomalies such as insertion, deletion, and modification, and this essentially just improves the integrity of all the data in the database. So the rules of normalization, this is so important you know these and learn these off, because these will allow you to do normalization, and these will allow you to actually answer if they tell you what is the second rule of normalization. So the first rule is the removal of repeating fields of which are grouped into a new entity, and this is known as first normal form. So first normal form is the removal of repeating fields of which are grouped into a new entity. That's how you get from zero normal form to first normal form. How you get from first normal form to second normal form, you follow the second rule, which is making sure all the data fields are dependent on the primary key. And then you get from second normal form to third normal form, you follow the third rule, which is the removal of mutual dependency fields between non-key attributes. So unnormalized data will be characterized by redundancy and inconsistencies and repeated fields with multiple values for one project. When data will have high levels of this, then redundancy anomalies will arise and the integrity will be low, with inconsistencies occurring due to data duplication. So to write data in unnormalized form, you have to select a name for your main entity. So like let's say order, and then everything comes under that there. Then each field will be contained within that entity listed in brackets. Okay, so you put a bracket running in every single field in that there, and then you close bracket. Now any primary key, or the primary key, will be underlined, and then foreign keys will have a wee star on it. Repeating groups will be contained within those wee brackets there. So in first normal form, data will have all the attributes being atomic, and the entities do not have repeating groups. So therefore, each sort of field will only have its own. The attributes will not be broken down any further than this term called atomic. So breaking down attributes to produce atomic attributes will allow flexibility to manipulate data. Essentially, you're just having no repeating groups, so you won't see any of the fields occurring twice, essentially. So your second normal form, non-key attributes will be partially dependent on the key removed to a new entity along with a copy of the determinant. That sounds very complicated, but it essentially isn't. You're just looking at that there and you're saying, right, what depends on the primary key here? You're looking at your new entity. Let's say you have two entities here. You have member and then you have order. You're looking at all the maybe the fields in the order table, the ones that are not dependent on the order ID, so the ones that don't really relate to order ID, you move them into a new entity yourself. That's essentially what you're doing. So for third normal form, the attribute doesn't depend on another attribute which is not the primary key, and this is called transitive dependency or mutually dependent. And then transitive dependency will exist, and attributes of the determinant must be removed to a new entity, and the copy of the determinant must be retained in the original table. So the advantages of normalization is that it takes up less storage and the duplication of data is minimized. Information retrieval will be more efficient with data structured effectively, so it's easier to update data and queries are processed faster. There'll be less redundancies and less inconsistencies as data is only entered once. You can also organize key fields. Data integrity will be increased with each piece of information will be entered and stored only once, minimizing duplication of data. And finally, memory space will be saved so redundant data is removed, and therefore you're storing less information. The disadvantage though is that normalization is a complex process required to create a database structure, and you have to generate more tables in an unnormalized database. With more tables is more complex database. It's necessary to assign more relationships to interact with a larger number of tables, and the more tables you set up, then queries are more complex, and therefore the tables will be slower to run these queries and extract data from. Finally, we're going to talk to you about a data dictionary, which is a file containing descriptions of data structure and how the data is stored in the database. It will contain the field names, the data types, the file size, the format, the data, the default value, the entity names, the primary key, or if it doesn't have a primary key, the details and validation, and this is used to provide metadata. Thanks for watching this video. I've been Dylan Hamilton from C.A.R Entertainment, and I will see you next time.